Hawksbee and Jacobs here on Talksport. Well, earlier this year, Chris Watney, Corinthian-Casuals director and the former striker, popped in to see us to tell us about a trip the team were making to Brazil, to Sao Paulo, to take on Corinthians in a special commemorative match. But it didn't happen. We were expecting a follow-up conversation.
Yeah, I thought you were coming in to tell us all about it.
Yeah, but it didn't happen. So we're going to find out why now from Chris, and when it is thankfully happening. Good afternoon again, Chris.
Good afternoon.
So what went on?
Well, the World Cup got in the way, sadly. And
hadn't anybody thought about that?
well, what happened was, because the stadium was delayed for Sao Paulo's opening of the World Cup.
It was they were still laying sort of paving slabs with about 20 minutes to kick off, weren't
exactly.
they? Really?
It wasn't quite ready for us to get there first. So it's happening on January the 25th.
Oh, excellent.
Which is incredible. It's taken a bit of planning. I've been there, but the rest of the team haven't. So we're all going back on January the 19th.
It's going to be hot.
It's going to be
very hot.
It's going to be very
hot.
hot.
It's the hottest time of the year there. So
I know.
And you're playing that brand spanking new stadium on the first game in the World Cup.
Yeah, the first time the two first teams have ever played against each other, and we're playing in that arena. It's going to be live on TV. Thousands of people there, millions on TV.
You're playing their first team?
We're playing their first team.
God, you're going to get hammered.
You're not going to go over as a sports psychologist, are you? That'd be a great help.
They're professionals. Football team, all right, they're not.
I know.
Blimey, you're going to get hammered.
Well,
fantastic.
They've got a bit of an advantage. They're used to the heat. They're in their home.
He knows all the reasons why they're going to get hammered. The rest of them are listening. Don't need to hear you telling them they're going to get hammered.
It's going to be on television.
So what you're saying, they're going to get hammered and they're going to be humiliated?
Yes,
is that what
basically.
Yeah.
I think, it is a concern. I mean, we lost 4-1 on Tuesday to Folkestone, so it's a step up. And to be fair to Folkestone, they played very well on the night. But, the world champions, 2012 against us, it is a step up. But I think it's going to be more about celebration of the family, and it's a celebration of the story.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Normally you'd play their under 21s or something.
That's what we did in 2001, and it was a great event. But obviously, getting on the plane to go and play against the first 11 of Corinthians is an all different thing, and we're really excited.
For those who didn't hear you first time, it's worth telling us about the significance of the trip. And ideally, it would have happened it's going to happen at the start of 2015. But tell us a little bit more.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the whole idea of the tour is to fulfil a tour that never happened 100 years ago, that got cut short by the First World War. So the great Corinthians of 100 years ago, who were the first real superstars of the global game, they were on a ship to Brazil in 1914 when they heard about the war being declared. And as soon as they heard, they landed in Rio and decided, right, let's go straight home, join the army. And tragically, only one of that touring party ever played again for Corinthians, because they all died on the battlefields of the Somme and Ypres and Passchendaele Ridge. And so the fixtures never happened 100 years ago. After they did so well, they went there in 1910 and they went there in 1913 and set up this club in Brazil, Corinthians Paulista. But they never got a chance to actually play Corinthians Paulista 100 years ago, and they were going to. So we thought, we've got to obviously pay tribute to these guys. It's an amazing story. So we want to go back and fulfil the fixtures that never happened.
It's a great idea and a fun thing to do, definitely for the players. I am a bit worried about the result, and I think you might have to recall Cuthbert Brisley.
Yeah,
Cuthbert Brisley, absolutely. I mean, in 1914, he was considered the world's greatest striker, and tragically, he died flying for the Royal Air Corps back in 1918, and just another of those great players who never got to play again. So sad.
It's so good that the Corinthians have kind of kept this alive and sort of respect the tradition of the club, and they've maintained the dialogue with you. Has that always been the case all the time you've been involved at the club?
A little bit. I mean, when I first joined the club in 1999, there was some communication, and we did go there in 2001. The club had been in 1988 for the first time in the modern era. But that tour took 11 years to plan, and the guy who actually did plan it died of a heart attack as soon as the team arrived in Brazil. Through, it was said to be overexcitement, but it had actually happened. And I've had a medical. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can certainly relate to the guy, because it's been a slog getting us there. But it's something where the Corinthian fan base have just taken this to another level. And we actually outvoted in a public vote Barcelona, Real Madrid and Chelsea. We got 61% of the vote as to who the fans in Brazil wanted to see play at the new arena.
Wow.
So they've really taken us to our hearts and to their hearts. And it's great to have this connection between the Corinthian-Casuals, who play in Tolworth, who nobody knows about really, even in Tolworth. And then I flew 22 hours to Sao Paulo to set it up, and I see our shirts for sale in their shops there. So it's an incredible story how they are so connected.
Is it quite lucrative? I mean, you kindly brought us a couple of the. We'll talk about the shirts you bought in today. Tell us a little bit about those. This is a new line you're doing, an old line and a new line.
Exactly. I mean, what we're doing is trying to. Well, we want to also raise a little bit of money for Walker the Wounded, who are a great charity about soldiers, and it's just linking in that story of obviously why we're doing it. So we are launching our own heritage brand where we are selling some Corinthian shirts, which are replicas of what the team were wearing 100 years ago. And it's a nice long sleeve, very nice, 100%
really
cotton.
nice.
I'll do my sale.
I wouldn't wear those out in Sao Paulo in January.
No, great point. We do have a polo range as well, but I thought with Christmas coming, the long sleeve might be better here.
They will expect you to look that way, though. They'll in a way, you almost have to warm up in these.
Hopefully, a lot of the boys are getting involved in Movember, so they'll look like they're like players from 1918.
Some of the moustaches worn back then are spectacular. I don't know whether we'll be able to even manage to grow something like that, but there is an expectation of us being quite dapper Englishmen, but it's going to be so hot. So we had a committee meeting recently saying, well, it must be blazers, must be shirt and tie. But I mean, stepping off the plane, it's going to be 45 degrees. So I think polo shirts and shorts might be the order of the day.
It's quite a nice dry heat, though. You'll be all right.
Okay, that's good.
Sao Paulo is a bit humid, but there you go. We were thinking
it gets better with Andy, doesn't he? He's a little ray of sunshine.
We were thinking of you the other day because there was a story in the paper on Monday. Cole, you'll recognise this being a Corinthian. Goal ace Callum Hind was booked for deliberately missing a penalty he didn't think should have been given in Kent's Canterbury and District League, and that is a very
that's wonderful.
Corinthian tradition.
You should be signing him up.
We should be. I mean, I would like us to be giving the guy a medal, frankly, for Corinthian spirit, because, I mean, our great story is we missed penalties on purpose whilst on tour in South Africa, and we also used to step aside for penalties. And the great goalkeeper who did that, Thomas Rowlandson, he actually died at the Battle of the Somme, and he was a wonderful figure of his day, and he used to step aside. I mean, we still do miss penalties, but it's not on purpose, sadly. Anyway. But,
I would. If you get one in Sao Paulo, I'd deliberately miss it.
The
fans will love that.
Try convincing our number 9, Jamie Byatt, to do that.
This might be tricky.
We'll talk to him, though. We will talk to him.
So you're going to be celebs by the sound of it. Your kind of advanced party went out there. You've had a flavour. When the team get out there and you're playing a full state, you're going to be all over the TV channels.
It is incredible. Our number 9, Jamie Byatt, he's become something of a cult figure out there. He scored 32 goals last season, which saved us from relegation in the Ryman League. And the pictures at the end of the season of him celebrating with a Corinthian Paulista shirt just went all around Brazil. And I was inundated with journalists wanting interviews with Jamie. And I was there just a couple of weeks ago, and the taxi drivers were asking if I knew Jamie Byatt. And on Monday, we're making a little film about the story. And on Monday, I was on the building site where he works, driving his digger. And I said to his co-workers, are you aware that Jamie's a celebrity in Brazil with millions of fans about to watch? And obviously they told me no, politely.
No uncertain terms.
No uncertain terms.
So people go along to the website if they're interested in buying the shirt. So where do they head?
Yeah, you can go on casuals39.com and you can get our team kits, but also, as I say, this new lovely white long sleeve replica of the 1900s shirt, and a polo range which we're doing, which all helps, and hopefully it's going to raise some money as well for charity as well. And it's something which the club have needed to do really as part of the project, and the hope is, because there's such a latent demand in Brazil, and there's a lot of fake replicas being made in Brazil.
Right.
So we're actually also going to be selling our stuff officially in Brazil for the first time with Corinthians on board. So it's a big opportunity for the club to, because I think a lot of people think of Corinthians as being on the shelf, a bit of a relic.
Yeah.
And there is a great future, I think, also for Corinthians. There's a role there because people do embrace the Corinthian spirit. Yeah. So I think it's an exciting time for the club to be going out there, and hopefully it's a bit of a relaunch of the name and the brand.
Well, we hope it goes well, and I don't want to sound like Andy, but it is a touch moodier than Tolworth, so I would watch your backs.
Only just.
It is a bit edgy.
But look, I hope it all goes well. Come and see us, because after the game, maybe start of February, and give us a report on what
I'd absolutely love to. Yeah.
Fantastic. We wish you well. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Chris Watney there from Corinthian-Casuals, and it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs still to come.